Hello everyone, welcome to my latest video on Lunalight Tearlaments. I have Luna here with me because you guys keep asking about her. She's very agitated, so I'm just gonna put her down right now. And yeah, this is just gonna be a short video. I have a lot of people asking me over about my updates to deck profile app post banlist, my thoughts on the deck moving forward, as well as just some general more combo videos, more hand tasks and stuff. So I'm just gonna go over my thoughts about the ban list, really short. I know I'm like 3 days late, but I don't care because I don't want to do reactions. I want to do last. Just want to talk about how the deck might move forward. So basically, most of the ban list doesn't matter. The only things that matters for Tearlaments and the meta is Snow and Rolling Totem. Snow is a fair hit. I think Snow is a card that was really unfair and was too much advantage to really continue to be legal. But it does hinder our deck a lot, so we do have to keep that in consideration and I'll talk about what the card meant for the deck and how we need to solve what is now missing from the deck. Rolling Totem, we never used it, but it is a card that was used in some Tearlament builds. Sprite can still make Toad, however it's not as prevalent, and that also ties into another thing I want to talk about, that also we lose because of Snow, which is evenly matched getting into the game, but we'll get to that later. Just basically know that Rolling Totem being gone is not bad for us, but it does have some implications which are not good. Steve the Cloak, this card is pretty good, especially for Lunalight because of a small interaction he has with Kagetsushi, and I'll get to that later. But it also just by itself represents 3 bodies on field, and if you get it with cross sheeps, it might even be 4 depending, and it's really good. The other thing I want to talk about now, actually getting into what we lost with the deck. Snow actually represented more than just bodies. It was bodies, it was interruption to your opponent's turns. It was a way to prevent you getting even lead, which right now we don't have a way of stopping evenly matched. So we had to solve that. We have to get bodies onto the board, which wasn't really a problem because we already had ways of doing the full combo even without Snow. But yeah, it was good when we had Snow because it just made the combo ridiculously easy to do. However, losing the protection for Apollo mainly doing the bonus turn, as well as the evenly protection, is something we gotta fix. And so I have a few cards here that I have been looking at, and this is just basically a call to arms to everyone that has ideas on how we can solve this for Lunalight Tearlaments. And I'm gonna show the other builds I have. Also, I kind of want to add here, this is also in here. These are all the ways we've been stopping evenly because the combo is really strong. The combo doesn't lose to any monsters necessarily because we have Griffin, Apollo, and Dweller. So there is really a limited amount of monsters that deal that board. Spells are obviously turned off by anti-spell, and we don't get super polyed in our end board anyways. The problem is just evenly. Evenly is kind of the card that I think is going to be the breakout card for this format. So the ways we have solving that, there's Crime. Crime is the most obvious choice because it's an archetype. However, getting a Tearlament monster on board, as well as having a monster in hand by the end of your combo, is surprisingly hard, especially because of the way the combo is non-linear. So I found that Crime is actually not that good of a choice. I've also tested with Felice. If you've seen the video that DB Grinder posted of me and my deck profile, which I know a lot of people coming new to the channel actually saw that, I was using Felice on that video, and I was using it to make Bottleload Savage. And that's completely fine, and that's a good combo you can do because it's actually not hard to get Felice into the graveyard. And even if you draw it, you can also reborn it with Cross Sheep. So it's never dead, it's always in rotation. However, if you do this, it's incredibly hard to also get Dweller on field. So basically it is the trade-off of you stopping evenly, but you don't stop Dweller. And if you don't put Dweller up, you can always get just gassed by other other Tearlament versions, sorry, because the deck is actually just incredibly resilient and it's just incredibly strong. So I don't think that's the end-all solution. We also have Codebreaker stuff. If you look at the Codebreakers, if we play it, the only reason we're not playing it right now is because of extra deck space. Because just one card in the main deck, and you can always have access to it through a normal combo, and it allows you to get a Trigate Wizard with all the co-links it needs. But the problem is that like you need two extra deck space for that, and probably one more to get a very good co-link with it. So that's a bit much. Like we're struggling with Felice to get one extra deck spot, and we take out Redoer, which is already a really good card for the deck. So yeah, it's kind of tough. And there is Enchantress, the adventure package with Griffin, and you just keep Griffin in hand usually, mostly because of space, because you can just do it on your turn because you're not fearing evenly. You're not fearing a Dark Ruler because you have anti-spell up, but you really don't have space to put Griffin on board during your combo unless you do it at the very end. At which point you might as well just hold it in your hand for the next turn. But this version has been tricky and it hasn't been as resilient as the other versions, so it just has flaws. It just has a lot of flaws. So anyways, just getting to the deck profiles. This is what I've been playing lately. The version on DB Grinder, I was playing the adventure package, but I think this version is a lot better right now. The only thing I have for evenly is the crime, which I think is the worst solution, but I think it's the one that's most resilient when you get to actual gameplay. But I want to change it. I really don't like it. I need to get a better version, but at the moment I haven't found any. So yeah, we're pretty much running everything else we've been running. We cut one SC to get down to 40 and replaced Snow with Steam the Cloak. I have some replays here. I'm going to show you how Steam the Cloak has been coming up and what I think are the most relevant interactions of it. But in general, the deck list is pretty much the same, and you play it pretty much the same as you've always had. Tear count is the same, spell count is basically the same. You still play 3 Super Poly. Side deck has changed a lot, and I think this is actually incorrect. Playing this for this format, I'm pretty sure you're gonna have to end up siding the Ciphering Gamma package because of Shifter, because I think Shifter is gonna be a lot more prevalent now, especially as Sprite looks on to more different variants. Because if you look at the hits, the Rolling Toad and being banned, it doesn't stop them from making Toad. But I think what Konami was trying to do with this hit is forcing Sprite players to diversify. For example, Tri-Brigade Sprite is a very, very strong deck, and is a deck that I found very fun to play as well. And it's a very, very, very... it has a lot of interactions which are in standard. It interacts in very different ways. It has back row interaction, it has monster interactions, it has hand traps and stuff. So... yeah, I think Konami was just trying to say like, oh, you have a very versatile engine, like go diversify, go play with different stuff, instead of just keeping the frogs. So I think we're gonna see a lot more of those. But I think we're also gonna see just a lot of Sprite just maining Shifter, as well as Runic and Exosister. And then there's the problem of Mystic Mine. I don't think 4 cards is enough, but we're maining anti-spell, so kind of evens it out. Regardless, I think Mystic Mine is going to be a big problem in this format, so I think the deck list is going to have to adapt a little bit for that. Aside from that, I think the side is pretty much good, but it's going to depend on your region, on your local meta game. Extra deck is exactly the same. If you're playing Felice, you take Redoer and you just put Savage, and this should be fine. You can't really take anything else, I have felt. If you're not playing Felice and you're also playing Steam the Cloak, you can take out Redoer and you can actually play Pit Knight, because at the end of the combo, we usually are left with something like 2 or 3 bodies we don't have a lot to do with, because we already have Dweller, we already have Redoer, and like we just have bodies, because Steam the Cloak is actually a lot of bodies, but they aren't like rank 4s. They aren't level 4s, and they aren't effect monsters necessarily, so I don't know, it's kind of hard to know what to do with them, but I've just been keeping Redoer, because Redoer is very good into your hand traps. Just being able to put a Shaven under Redoer and get a fusion is really strong. And the adventure version is also pretty much the same as the other lists, except it plays adventure. You have to cut Super Poly to keep it down to 40, but Because of how the adventure package is good into playing into boards and breaking boards, I don't think you actually need super poly. You don't need actually any board breakers or hand traps. Just sharing Havnis alone is pretty much enough. The combo is the same. You set up the same stuff. Extra deck is exactly the same because everything here has its uses. And yeah, I'm just gonna get to the replays then. First off, this is how Steam the Cloak actually shows up in the replays. You're gonna get to a situation like this where you've made Kit Kalos, you still have a body on field, and you haven't normaled. Of course, there's a ton of situations. You don't have to draw this card at all. You can just mill it, but this is the most common one. And then you just normal it, and you're gonna go into Cross Sheep, and Steam is gonna trigger, and is immediately gonna trigger the Cross Sheep. And now, let's say you have a danger, you have anything in your graveyard. Here I revive the Sharon, but you're usually gonna have a danger on the graveyard or like a Lunalight and stuff, and you can just reborn it, and then you tribute the token, and here you have a Curious Play. So this should already be most of your combo done. And if you have like a bad hand or you have to play under Nib or something, this is already Griffin. So you can pass on like Griffin, Cross Sheep, a Tearlament and Soliak, which during their turn is going to be a lot of interactions with Griffin, and you don't even have to set anything in Griffin, you could just passive Griffin, and that's already a pretty strong interruption. So let's go to this one first. I think this is not the adventure version, but you're gonna see. I'm just gonna fast forward this. You can pause it if you want, but I've explained tons of times how the combo usually goes. Or just comment if there's anything interesting. But yeah, here we get to the exact situation we were before. Like if we had Steam the Cloak rotation here, which we do, but we don't have it on our hand. So I think it's gonna come up, yeah, that I'm gonna make Cross Sheep and immediately trigger it with the Steam the Cloak. Yeah, so I summoned the danger that I discarded, and then I'm gonna make Cross Sheep right now, and the token is gonna immediately trigger the Cross Sheep. So now, yeah, and I revive it back to give me more bodies, because Griffin is actually completely generic. Just getting the tokens right. And here I'm gonna use them to make Dark, and then make Curious, then dump Anti-Spell, mill some stuff, make Griffin, set it. And because we got some nice mills here, I'm just gonna get my Tearlament engine online, make Dweller, then Zephyrus, do and make Redoer. And then because we haven't normaled, I'm just gonna normal Merly, set Soliak, set Anti-Spell, and pass. And this is basically the end board you're gonna try to get every time. You're gonna be able to do it most of the time. If you get Nib, you're probably gonna have a reduced version of this, but you can still usually get your Apollo, Griffin, and Anti-Spell. But yeah, this is how Steam the Cloak actually comes up. And for the adventure versions, in this one we actually mill every single part of the adventure engine that we do not want to draw and we do not want to mill. And it actually ends up not marrying. I'm going to leave both of the replays in the description, by the way. All three replays, if you guys want to analyze and like ask me questions about the decisions I made, but they're all pretty standard. In here I actually didn't mill any single tear to get a fusion, so we have to play off the Lunalight cards, which is actually pretty fine because, as you guys are going to see, it's pretty easy to get a fusion on board from them because of Kagetsushi. Yeah, and then we just mill a fusion. Once we get the fusion online, here we already have Griffin, but I just decided to keep the bodies on field to make Griffin later easier. I think the biggest advantage of this version is that your follow-up is very, very strong, because like right now we're getting to the end board, but we could have made Dweller here as well, but I think that it wasn't needed because of the double sharing hotness. Anyways, because we have Vivid Tail to bounce anything, we have Enchantress. I think we didn't end up actually using the effect of Steam the Cloak, if not mistaken. Maybe we did. But yeah, having token every single turn, like we could have just Actually, I probably should have just end phase actually activated a token. It's pretty bad into evenly, but if it's game 1, it doesn't matter. And yeah, it's a pretty strong follow-up. So that's it, guys. That's the short video. I just wanted to get this out because people have been wondering what to play for the new version. I'm gonna leave both these decks in the description as well, so there's gonna be like 5 links in the description. And feel free to ask me any questions. If you guys have thought about any ways of dealing with evenly, please let me know, because I think the biggest problem with the deck right now is that it's the evenly problem, because we have the bodies solved, we have the interaction solved, but we haven't solved evenly. Also, once I solve that, or once I get to know a better way of solving it, I'm gonna make a better video. I'm gonna make another one, and I'm just gonna update the deck profile once again. So yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know if you guys want more replays or want more combo videos. I'm probably gonna post some gameplay. I'm not sure if I would like to do videos on the style of DB Grinder, but it might be nice just to show the deck off. But at this point, the deck's become pretty standard. A lot of people are picking it up. And yeah, I think that's it. Thanks, guys. See you later.